I want to welcome everyone to our AMZ and Beyond special guest presenter call. Today is November 11th, 2020. It is Veterans Day, and happy Veterans Day to all you that are out there and to all the veterans that served our country. I want to send a special shout out to you and thank you for your service. And we wouldn't be where we are today in our country and our freedoms if it wasn't for you. And with all that's going on in the world right now, we're fighting for our freedoms right to this very minute. So I'm not going to get into all that. We can talk about that if we have time later. Or if you guys want to catch the conversation we talk about before the call. So anyway, I want to welcome Dr. Travis Zigler. He has been in our group for some time. I know that he's not always as active in there, but we've had him on here before. Let me give you a little introduction of Travis. And Travis and I have been good friends now since, I want to say it was 2015. Maybe it's been about 5.5 years, Travis, since we first met. I first met Travis through my connection with Robert Kiyosaki. And that's what got him involved with ASM 5, I believe. And he came in to ASM based on Robert and mine, saying all the good things about it. And at that time, his wife, Jenna, and himself were, they were still eye doctors running their own practice. And he saw this as a way to get some freedom. And you see that he's a recovering now optometrist turned e-commerce entrepreneur. So that he totally changed over to this business full time very soon after that. He had success right away. And he is the founder of I Love, him and his wife, and that's ilovethesun.com. You can see the link right there. You can check it out. He runs an amazing business. I would highly recommend that you follow what he does, because everything that he talks about, he's doing in this business, and you can see it. He is totally transparent about everything he does. And they run an amazing blog. They do promotions for like all the holidays, and they have an amazing list. I mean, just follow what he does and you'll learn what you can do just from seeing what he's doing in his own store. But his mission is to heal 1 million dry eye sufferers naturally. And that's obviously goes with his eye brand that he has there. He'll probably talk more a little bit about that. Due to the success of I Love, over 4 million per year as of 2020, others have asked if Dr. Travis would help them grow their businesses on Amazon. So now he has his own team. So Dr. Travis and his team have helped clients through his agency, Profitable Pineapple Ads. And, I wanted to ask him, Travis, I never really asked you where you came up with the pineapple. And I know he loves pineapples because you'll see he posts that all over the place. And I'm wondering if that has to do with any connection to Hawaii. But
nothing to do with Hawaii.
What? Nothing?
No, it's everything to do with Jamaica.
Jamaica. All right. I had a feeling that might be the case. And if he gets the time to share it with you, I know him and his wife, they still actually, and I don't think they have recently because of the whole COVID thing, but they go down to Jamaica and do things for the people there. I believe free of charge as part of their mission, that they are helping people down in Jamaica and give them free eye care. Because those of you guys that have been to Jamaica know that it is a lot of people down there struggle. And, he's out there trying to make the world a better place, Jenna and himself. So I talked about you a lot, Travis, because I love bragging on you, but I'm going to stop the screen share and welcome you to our call. So How are you doing there today, my friend?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on. And I'm excited to go into everything that we're going to be going over today. I'm going to change my presentation up just a little bit for this audience, because I know a lot of the faces out there. I actually see one of the people, Boris, is in here, and he's gone through everything that I've kind of put out there. He's been following me for about 6 months now, and we've worked together. So Boris is a great, he's done great as well with the strategy that I'm going to be discussing today. So pretty excited to go through this.
Awesome. No, we are too. And like I said, there's not as many people that we normally have on here, but you know what? Mike York is on the call. Look at that. I see Mike there. I know he's planning for another big 1 mile excursion of the Baja here, and he's leaving soon. So Mike, I'm glad you're on. And there we go. Paulo is popping on. So we're starting to get some of our regulars pop on. And like I said, I'm sure there'll be more coming on there, Travis. So yeah, go ahead, dig into it. Feel free to screen share as you need to. And if you're okay interacting with us as you go, we can do that. Or if you want, we can wait to the very end.
Actually, so to make this just a little different, I think, interrupt me as much as you want.
Okay.
Unmute yourself, ask me a question. I'd be happy to dig into any of this for you. What I'm going to discuss today is going to be more of like a broad overview strategy. And then if you want specific examples, I'm happy to go into that with you and just kind of show you different things. So let me just present this, and you guys can probably see my full screen, correct?
It is coming up. There you go. Yes, you're all set.
So yeah, as you guys can see, the title of this presentation is How to Make 7 Figures in Amazon PPC Sales in Less Than 30 Minutes Per Week Without Having to Hire or Be Held Hostage by an Agency. And I am an agency, so it's kind of a play on words. Is that the word I'm looking for? I don't know. That's not right either. But the goal of this presentation is to just kind of give you the strategy behind how we've built 7 figures in Amazon PPC sales. The funny thing about this is that we just crossed 1 million in ad sales this year for my account I love yesterday, or it might have been today, but it just happened, which is, as you guys know, is about 87,000 per month on average in advertising sales. Some months better than others. We've gone up to 110,000 in some months and 140,000 in other months. And then when we started this at the beginning of the year, we were only doing 60,000 a month in ad sales. So the strategy I'm going to give you is the exact strategy we've gone through in the makeover we've done in the last essentially 16 months. But learn from my mistakes, learn from my failures, and you're going to take away a lot from this if you just kind of follow the strategies and the steps that I go through. And then, at the end of this, I am going to make an offer to work with some of you guys. And so that's up to you to join. There's not going to be any high pressure sales or anything. I'm just going to show you what you're going to get. And then if you want to work with me, feel free to reach out to me at any time, and we can kind of have a conversation around that. So I have lots of resources out there on the internet, so I'd be happy to give that to anyone. So let me kind of jump in and just go over who this is for. I know that Dave and Norm, you guys have built this group that's an amazing group of experienced Amazon sellers that are at all different levels. And I commend you for doing that, which is great. But it doesn't matter if you're experienced with this or you're just starting out. This is for people that are just feeling that little bit of overwhelm and frustration with your Amazon PPC, and you never feel like you have that grasp on it. And I was there. I was in your shoes, and I've never felt better about Amazon PPC than I do right now. And I've never had so much confidence going into Q4 as I do right now. And that's because the strategy that I'm going to be discussing with you guys. So I'm going to just dig into my story a little bit more of who I am. Like Dave said, CEO of I Love and founder with my wife. We're on pace to do over $4 million this year. And the most proud part of that 4 million is our profit is almost up 7 times what it was last year. And most of it is due to the strategy that I'm going to be going over today. And then Profitable Pineapple Ads, that's my agency. I'm the CEO of that. There's only 3 of us, so we're a pretty boutique-y agency. We're not even close to being as big as BJ. He's built something that's pretty incredible with his agency as well. But we kind of tend to work with more health supplements and supplement brands. So we've really niched down, and we've had a lot of fun with that as well. And then, my mission is helping entrepreneurs achieve the financial freedom using Amazon ads. And so I do this through a multiple variety of ways. So I have a free course for those that are just starting out. I have a paid course and a mastermind around Amazon PPC that I'll go over here in a little bit later. And then I have the agency side as well. So the goal, though, is to help you achieve financial independence. And that's what we've kind of gained through Amazon PPC. And that's what we want to pretty much change with you. And as Dave mentioned earlier, my mission in life is to heal preventable blindness. And there's about 1 billion people blind due to lack of glasses. And our mission work is to give people glasses. So we give about 2,000 to 3,000 exams, glasses, sunglasses, and hats out per trip. And we go on about 3 trips per year. And so Jamaica is one of those trips. We go down to Latin America in the spring, and then we go to another Caribbean island in the fall. And so it's a lot of fun. But let's actually take you back to kind of where all of this began, not just with, Dave is how it all started. He teamed up with Robert Kiyosaki. I was on Robert Kiyosaki's email list, and I bought ASM. That's how I got started selling on Amazon. But 2 years into our journey in 2017, my wife and I were both optometrists, and we owned 2 optometry practices. And, I was living the quote unquote entrepreneur dream, but I had one huge problem, and I was working from sunup to sundown. Amazon in the morning, I was seeing patients during the day, and then Amazon at night. Can anybody else relate to that? Like, just you're working nonstop because you have your 9 to 5, and you're working on Amazon before and after and on weekends. So on top of this, we were also expecting our first child, and I didn't see a way to run 2 practices, plus our online business, plus raise a child. So what we did is we analyzed our 3 businesses, and we decided to go all in on the business I love in the future. The picture of me down at the bottom left is, yes, that is my sweet beard and long hair. But that is actually the last day I practiced. And so that is me with the big E. I thought that was fitting. And then the top right picture of my wife, that's actually us on a mission trip. So she's checking somebody's pair of glasses. That's actually a church. And so we're in a church and you can see the altar behind her kind of blurred out. And then that is my first practice that I owned. And so very proud of that. But the thing was, like, leaving our jobs, we were making about 240,000 per year between both of us. And, we had to figure this out. Like, how are we going to replace that income? And at that time, there was no softwares. There wasn't really anything good for your Amazon PPC, and our costs were sky high. And it was taking up a ton of my time, and I had minimal profits. So I actually almost bankrupted our company twice. I always joke that I try to 10x the company. My wife prevents us from going bankrupt. And Amazon PPC, as you guys know, can get carried away very, very fast. And so we wanted to quit the 9 to 5 while having more time for ourselves and more time to spend with my wife and my soon-to-be child. So I'm sure you guys have had that same dream. And so what I did is I dove into a few courses by all the gurus in the Amazon PPC space and spent close to $10,000 learning from these experts. But the problem I was having, I was feeling more confused instead of getting more clarity. I also found that I was spending more time on Amazon PPC as a result, which was the opposite of what I was going for. So after taking the courses, I decided to invest in softwares. I went through 6 different Amazon PPC softwares over the next 1.5 years. And the problem with software was it was killing some of my listings, just absolutely destroying the organic rank. And they wouldn't stay, the listings just tanked, plain and simple. So finally I worked with 3 different agencies who they just spent a ton of money and they didn't give me a return on my investment with them, which left me more discouraged than when I started this journey. So nothing was making sense for me. And I was really wondering if this was a mistake. Like, was it a mistake for us to sell our practices and go all in on this? And, you kind of have that moment in life when you're like, enough is enough. And so I set off on this journey to really find out what we could do to fix this problem, because people are out there having success. It's just a matter of figuring out who and how we can fix it. And I didn't really have any idea where to start, and I felt trapped and I felt like I'd never figure this out. So what we did is, you go to your Amazon conferences. We've all gone to, 3 a year, 4 a year, 1 a year, whatever it is. And I was at another Amazon conference watching another Amazon PPC presentation, hoping that something would inspire me to just kind of turn things around. And then there it was. It was the presenter on stage just presented this simple, I still can vividly, I imagine myself in that room, because it was one of those moments that the presenter provided this simple laid out strategy for Amazon PPC. I got done with it and I was buzzing. Like, I could feel the energy. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And nobody else shared in that excitement, which was the funny thing. And I turned to them and asked them why they didn't think that was amazing. And they said it was just too simple. It wouldn't work. But I remember turning to my wife and I said to her, I knew this was it. This was going to be the turning point for Amazon PPC, increasing our profits, decreasing the time we spent on it. And, it was just kind of one of those heavens opening moments. And so we made a plan right there to figure it out. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. So I continued down this journey for the next 6 months with amazing results. We began to scale our ads to about 30,000, spending 30,000 to making 60,000, which is about a 50% ACOS. And then that was great results for us because we shoot for about a 62% ACOS. So 62% is our break even. That's our profit margin for one of our products. And it's a consumable. So we always try to break even with the ACOS. So 50% was a bonus.
Hey, Travis.
And, yeah.
Were you showing us some slides, or are you still on the one slide?
There we go.
Okay, cool.
Sorry, I'm getting carried away.
That's all right.
I tend to rant. We
It's
were only one slide
rants.
behind.
It's good rants. That's one. I figured you wanted to show the slide with it.
This is the slide I was actually supposed to be on. So yeah, we were spending 30,000 to make 60,000, which you can see at the very left side of this graph. And then at the best point of this graph, which is that kind of June area, we were spending about 40,000 to make 110,000. So that was a small adjustment we made. And with that small adjustment, we actually did that back in January of this year. I was terrified to make another adjustment because something was working so well from what we just learned. And now we're doing significantly more. It takes significantly less time than it did before. And I'm now able to scale my Amazon PPC. But the best part is it doesn't take up more of my time. So now I'm able to scale my products and work on broadening my business overall. So the end result and everything that I was about to go over is we've left our practices. We have not seen patients in over 2 years, and we run a thriving multi-million-dollar business on Amazon. My Amazon ads ACOS has dropped significantly. It adds a lot more profit to my bottom line, and I do it about in a tenth of the time it took before. And I get to spend a ton of time with my wife, my kid. We get to travel when we want without COVID, and I'm able to provide the lifestyle that we've always dreamed of. So you can spend less time on Amazon PPC and still profit more. A lot of the gurus will tell you you can't, and I'm here to disagree with that. You can spend less time on it, you can profit more, and you can use things that I'm going to be talking about today to do that. And a lot of the gurus are against what I'm going to talk about today just because they don't believe in it. So what I want to do is kind of jump into the content now. But before I do that, I know you're probably thinking to yourself, my business is special. And what I want to say is that my business was special too. And I always thought my business was special until I decided to stop thinking my business was special and just to dive in head first on anything I wanted to pursue. And this is one of those things. And once we did it, all we do with the strategy is we use the data that you already have, because you guys are experienced Amazon sellers. You've used Amazon PPC. We're going to use that data to scale our ads. And again, I'm going to get into all that. All right. Sorry, my computer wants to do an update right now, which is fantastic. And I'm trying to get it from not going on here. So this is just somebody that we just worked with, Greg. Greg, after 3 weeks of working together, Greg is up nearly 40% in his profit. And it's quite amazing. He's actually down 20% in gross sales, but his profit has shot up 40% in profit in just 3 weeks of working together. So he did this while spending hours and hours less time. So we'll talk about this a little bit more, and we'll go back to this testimonial here a little bit later too. But let's just jump into 3 secrets that we're going to be talking about today. So the first secret is my way too easy Amazon PPC strategy that you can literally do in less than 30 minutes per week. I say 30 minutes per week per product, but it's actually probably 30 minutes total, depending on the size of your account. So we have anywhere from, my account personally with iLove has about 25 SKUs that we advertise for. We have a client that has 1 SKU that this works for. We have a client that has 1,600 SKUs that this works for. So I'm going to give you that way too easy Amazon PPC strategy that takes less than 30 minutes per week. And actually the 1,600 SKU one doesn't actually take that much more time, which is amazing. Secret number 2 is the most important piece of Amazon PPC and how we were able to decrease our ACOS, decrease our ad costs, increase our profits, and then increase our organic rank. And then, of course, leaving your competitors to wonder what the heck you did. And then finally, the fastest and quickest way to success with Amazon PPC. Secret number 3, you guys already know way too much about, which you'll be like, okay, well, how does he know that? Because you're in this group, and I'm going to be going over this secret number 3 anyway, but I'll kind of breeze through it because you guys already know the importance of it. So let's jump into secret number 1. And what I want to do is go back to the beginning of 2019. And this was before I attended that conference and learned that simplicity is key to Amazon PPC. And in the beginning of 2019, when I had my enough is enough moment, I actually jumped into buying courses, taking courses. And I remember I spent $8,000 on one course from one of the leading PPC gurus in the space. And I was excited and ready to go with this new course. And I logged into the members area and stopped pretty much dead in my tracks because it was 15 modules and over 25 hours of video. And it was only on 1x speed. And I'm sure you guys are horrified when you have to watch a video at 1x speed, because I am. And it was frustrating. So the problem was that this was the guy in Amazon PPC. And before buying this course, I'd tried a few cheaper courses, but nothing was really clicking. And I was always watching the free content on Amazon PPC on YouTube. And I'd hear something on a podcast, try it for a few weeks, and then nothing was really sticking. Does this sound familiar to anybody? Like you just try these little things and they just don't work. So what I did is I decided to go through the whole course, told my wife I was going on vacation essentially. And when I went through this whole course, this guy was speaking another language and I really had trouble even understanding him. And so this is the problem that I see with most people in this space, is that they give away just enough to give you some success, but they don't give all their biggest secrets away. So after taking this course, I was even more confused and realized I was spending even more time in it. So at this conference that I talked about earlier, the presenter provided that simple layout, and I just knew that this was the answer that I'd been looking for. So that night, after I had that heavens opening moment, I went back to my hotel room, called my business partner in my agency, and over the next 8 hours, we implemented it in not only my ad account, but across the entire agency. So with the right ads strategy in place, you can really take less than 30 minutes per week because you really learn what to focus on. And this allows you to profit more and save a significant amount in your emergency fund. So what is my exact strategy? It's incredibly simple and it's so easy to replicate. And it's just Pareto's principle. So Pareto's principle, you guys know, is the 80-20 rule. And it states that 20% of your input creates 80% of your results. It's the 80-20 rule. 80% of anything comes from 20% of the input that you do into that. So some examples are 20% of workers produce 80% of the results. 20% of your customers create 80% of your revenue. The funny thing about that is actually, I dug that into a little bit more about the 20% of customers create 80% of your revenue. You can actually go 80-20 even more, and 20% of those customers produce even more. And if you take it all the way down, 1% of your customers actually produce 50% of your revenue. So it's a pretty crazy if you just keep applying the 80-20 rule, but that's a sidebar. But 20% of your customers create 80% of your revenue. And then finally with Amazon PPC, 20% of your customer search terms on Amazon drive 80% of your sales. So I'm going to say that again. 20% of your search terms create 80% of your sales or your revenue. It's really that simple. And so what our strategy is with our agency, what our strategy is with iLove, is we find and we scale those customer search terms. And then we automate certain parts of PPC, which I'll get into next. You can find these search terms incredibly easy by just looking at your search term report. It's not hard. If you have 1,000 words on your search term report, 200 of those words are producing 80% of your revenue, if not more. I usually find that it's like 90%. And so what you can do is go into your campaign manager, download your search term report, find those top 200 words, and then scale them. And it's as simple as that. Does that make sense to everyone? I'm going to guess by the silence that it does make sense. So this is like the first step that we implemented. And this was back in June of 2019. And this allowed us to scale our ads, not only of ourselves, but all our clients as well. And, we just stopped, we stopped chasing everything else out there. We were just like 20%, that's all we're going to focus on. And we're going to scale these. That's it. That's all we did. And it worked. But I want to introduce you to Tim. Tim he's a business partner of mine now. But, this was before we were business partners. We were actually just colleagues. And we came across paths because he's an optometrist. He's actually been on mission trips with me. We go on mission trips. So I think we've been on 3 together. But when we started working together in his e-commerce business, it was doing about $30,000 per month. And after when we took it over, all we did was this strategy, because we took him over right at the time that we started learning this. And we applied the 80-20 rule to the 80-20 strategy. And we took his business from $30,000 a month on Amazon to $60,000 a month in revenue. And then due to the success of that, we became business partners. And actually this past May, we actually acquired his business. And so now his business is actually a part of mine, and he's a business partner in my business now. So yeah, you're more than welcome to read that, but we'll come across that testimonial again later. And so I continued down this 80-20 journey for the next 6 months with amazing results in iLove. Like I said, we scale our ads from 30,000 to 60,000 with that 50% ACOS. And so you can do this no matter where you are in your Amazon PPC journey. So let's jump into secret number 2. And I can pause here to see if anybody has questions over that 80-20 strategy and how we do things. A couple questions always come up, like, what do we do to scale? And that's always the best question. We find those search terms and we create exact matches and we scale them. Scale only comes from exact match PPC terms.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What do you do with the search terms that aren't really producing?
I pause them.
Just pause them completely, or you lower them down to like 10 or 20 cents?
Nope, pause them, because they're still taking budget. And so most of us have usually a PPC budget, and we like our budget to all go towards those 200 words. That's just what we do. It's always what we've done. And it sounds crazy because I see people all the time that they're like, I need to show up for this word. This is our main word. But if it's not profitable, if it's taking all your budget away from the words that you could scale, we just pause them. It's if you focus on the 200 search terms or the 20%, it's amazing what you can do.
I have a question on that exact match. So it sounds like you never use bra and phrase anymore, right? So exact match only.
I do use broaden phrase, but there's a different strategy around broaden phrase. So broaden phrase, I don't use phrase as much. I use broad. Broad and even auto. We'll throw auto in here too. But broad phrase and auto are what I call discovery campaigns. You're trying to discover more search terms that are going to rise to the top of the crop. And so what happens is you may have a search term that you've ranked for years, all of a sudden drop out of your 80-20, but that's not a bad thing. Then you even still pause it. There were words a year ago that we were ranking for that made us thousands, if not tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they don't even show up on our search term anymore. And other words have taken their place. But as you stay unemotional and unattached to words and just look at data, then that's how we've been able to save so much. And that's how we've been able to lower our ACOS, which you're going to see after secret number 2, what our ACOS looked like. It's amazing what it's done as a result of focusing on this. And when we implemented secret number 2, what we were able to do after that. Great question.
So you mentioned also time frame, right? So you have a specific time frame that you will let the previous time frame keywords, even the most important keyword, you let it drop if it did not continue to generate anything in the current period, right? Sounds like you have a time frame.
Yeah, so we do the search term report every month, and we go back 60 days, and we look at the data that way. And then we have rules for weekly monitoring, and the weekly monitoring is when all the pausing occurs, and like when we pause keywords and when we stop going after keywords. So I don't know if that answered your question. I think I might have.
Yeah, because you mentioned that even the most important keyword, historically, you will let it drop if it did not generate anything in the current period, right? I just don't know how frequent you would, do that period. Yeah.
So we look at things weekly on all of our accounts, if not twice weekly, depending on how new the account is. And if it falls into one of our kind of rules of pausing and rules of letting keywords go, then we get rid of it, because there's obviously other keywords that have kind of rose to the top of the crop, and that's what we focus on.
I see. And exact match also applied to like a video ads, any place that you can find, right?
Exactly. So,
okay.
I always tell people that are especially new at sponsored products, I know that this group is a little more experienced, that you should never expand into sponsored brands and sponsored display until you've maximized sponsored products first. Sponsored products is going to be your 80-20 of Amazon advertising. And then once you've kind of mastered sponsored products, that's when you can start to expand. So, my order and what we're doing with iLove is we've kind of got sponsored products under wraps. It took us about, 6, 7 months of our new strategy. And then we expanded that into sponsored brands, and we did a hard expansion into sponsored display in the fall. And now we're in the winter in Q4. So now we're expanding into DSP and Google ads to Amazon. And so we're kind of taking this sponsored products first, and then you can expand after that. But the cool thing about it is, sponsored brands takes creative time, and you have to create the ads very manually and the pictures and everything. And you're going to have more time after we go through secret number 2 to figure out, like, you're just going to have a lot more time after you implement these strategies.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Great question.
Dr. Zigler.
Yeah.
I think, are you going to touch base on the advertising quartile later on?
Oh, secret number 2. That's what it's all about.
Okay. Then can I ask you that when you look at your ROI, that's what they right now use, like a more than 2 or 2.5, because the ACOS now, it's sometimes converted to
the ROAS?
Yeah, ROAS. Yeah.
We look at both. So I've done enough with Google and Facebook that ROAS isn't that unfamiliar to me, but it's just the inverse. So pretty easy to think about it. But what was the question about that?
So when you look at all your campaigns, so, according to your ACOS, and then you were saying that some of them are not making money, then you're going to drop them. Are you looking at this on per campaign base? So if it's more than 62%, which is more than your profit margin, then you drop them.
Exactly, 100%. So yeah.
And then if lower, anything lower than that, you keep all of them.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I could even do an example at the end of this. Yeah.
Travis, Mike York put in there, my issue has been scaling the 80% keywords. ACOS most times is very high. And if I try to reduce bids, then impressions and sales drop. And just so you know, he's in the supplement market.
Supplements are a pain. Yeah. So most of our clients are in the supplement market, and it is tough. It is tough to go after those words that, you want to be going after. And it's very scary in the supplement market because they're your main keywords that get all the traffic. But this is going to sound crazy, but we've shut them off. We shut them off, and we increased our ROI so much for our clients as a result of shutting them off. So like an example I'll give you is multivitamin. So if you're going after a multivitamin is obviously one of the most competitive spaces in Amazon next to like omega-3s. And if you always go after that, you're going to lose money. And if you can afford to lose and you have like venture capital backing you, that's great. Just try to acquire customers, but we've shut them off. We sell an omega-3. And we don't go after any words around omega-3. We go after different words. So you can kind of carve a niche in each supplement. So it is very scary in the supplement market because it is so intense. But you either have to raise your expectations of what your ACOS will be. So put it at your break even. And if it's above that, I recommend going 10 percentage points above break even for my ACOS, just because they'll be back. We have a 50% repeat customer rate. So just know that as well. Know your lifetime value. And then you can go a little higher. So that's how a lot of the supplement players win on Amazon, is they know their lifetime value. And, our average order value is $60, but our lifetime value is $300. And so we know we could probably go up to 300% ACOS and still be profitable over the lifetime, but then you have to have the cash flow to support that. And so it's a give and take. And I recommend 10 to 20% above ACOS. And then if you're still hovering around that at all times, you got to ask yourself, is it worth it to go after that word? And maybe it's time to go find some other words. And there are other words out there that you could probably go after with your product. I hope that answered your question. If not, let me know.
Yeah, I appreciate your going through that. It's exactly pretty much everything that you've said, including your journey through PPC, is what I've been through. And I'm at that point where, I've spent $10,000+ on courses. I've spent weeks on end going through the videos. I have a pretty good handle. I have a lot of experience doing PPC, but I'm at that point where, I've gone, spending $1,000 a day the last few months down to bouncing between 500 and 1,000 a day with an ACOS that started at maybe 100%.
Yeah, it's tough. And if sounds like you're in a more competitive supplement market space, and there are ways around it, and it's always a challenge. But like I said, we've got, I think, 10 different players in the supplement space that we run their ads for. And it was challenging for a couple of them. And, you have to kind of say, when is enough? And we'll kind of refigure out a strategy. I'd love to talk to you after this to just kind of discuss a little bit more to see if we could help you out, number one, or if, I can point you in the right direction to kind of what we've done in the past as a result.
Yeah, excuse me. I definitely wanted to talk to you. Wanted to meet you. I wanted to hop on and kind of see if we could talk afterwards.
Yeah, that sounds great. All right.
I have just one super quick question. It's on the 20%, so it's relevant now. So do you filter out search terms that include your brand?
No. So brand keywords can be huge. A lot of people make the mistake of not going after brand keywords. Most of you guys probably don't do that, but that's kind of the biggest thing that we find with our clients when we onboard them is they're never going after their brand keywords. So it's just low hanging fruit. I know a lot of you will say but I'm already organically number one, but Amazon's pay to play now. And if you type in my brand name, Hydrate, don't click on my ads, click on my competitors. But if you type in Hydrate and the top 4 sponsored products are usually me, but there's 4 spots there now. And it used to be 1, it used to be 2, now it's 4. And so they don't get to organic until the 5th spot. So brand keywords, I count in those 20% because, you don't always have to be going after non-branded keywords. And sometimes when you start to develop this business over a long period of time, your brand keywords are going to be your number one keywords. And that's what's happened to me over the last like probably 2.5 years, is as we focused on those other keywords before, and our ACOS was up to 78% at one point. And now our branded keywords are starting to rise to the top, and it brings down your ACOS overall, but it also scales as well, because you want your brand to be front and center. You want people to know your brand. So yeah, it's
totally. And no, I was asking actually because they are my best keywords, but in identifying what are the 20%, and I don't know, I just assume that someone is looking for my brand already. It's a closer to make a purchase, while instead, the common keywords, I assume that the 20% you're identifying the Pareto principles is for the keywords that I don't, of people that don't know me yet. And so my question was like, you filter out, of course you go after your brand keywords, but are those taking spots in the 20%?
They are.
Keywords? They are. Okay.
They do. So, and what you'll find is as your brand develops more and more of those keywords will rise to the top. And that's when your business gets really cool, because that's people directly looking for you. And you have to keep, of course, your competitors out, as you know, but it makes the game fun at that point, because people are actually looking for you. But what happens is you can then go after those common search terms a little bit more aggressively, and you may win on them more. And you're already going to be organically ranked for those common search terms now, because you're getting so many sales. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
All right, cool. Well, let me jump into secret number 2, and then we'll pause again for questions. So this is, I think, the most important piece. Like, of course, the strategy is important, and this is important too, but this was the number one way we decreased our ACOS. We decreased our ad costs. Our ad costs actually went up, but in proportion with the sales, it was not the same. So we increased our profits, we increased our organic rank, and you're going to leave your competitors to wonder what the heck you did. So this was back into the middle of 2019. We were on pace to do about 3.2 million with iLove. And that was pretty great. I mean, I felt pretty good about that, but I was burnt out. I was overwhelmed. And I was actually a mere minutes away from selling iLove to a venture capital firm. And I just couldn't shake this burnout feeling. And I tried everything. Tried talking to Dave Kettner, and he just couldn't break me out of the funk. Talked to Norman. He couldn't break me out of the funk. But no, in all seriousness, though, I tried meditation, exercising, more reading, traveling, and nothing seemed to help. And so this funk just was taking me over. I was living this dream. I stopped practicing, sold online full time. And so what I did is I actually reached out to my previous mentor of mine and paid him $35,000 to sit down with him to join his year-long program that I'd previously stopped. And I'll get into that a little bit more later. And he calls himself the entrepreneur's therapist, and he came through for me. We sat down and he told me, Travis, you're doing too much and not doing the things that bring you value in what you want to be doing. You need to eliminate, you need to delegate, you need to automate. Most of you guys know this on this call. To grow your business, you need to eliminate all the junk. 80-20. 20% of what you're doing is producing 80% of your results. And if we eliminated everything else, our business would explode. And then everything else that you're trying to eliminate, but you need to do in your business, you need to automate it. And then if you can't automate it with software, you need to delegate it. And so what I did is I looked at everything I was doing. We wrote it down for 2 weeks. We got rid of all the stuff that wasn't bringing value to me and wasn't fun. And then we looked at the necessary tasks and we automated them. Automation is so key to Amazon PPC, and I'll get into why in just a little bit. So this is pretty much your daily Amazon tasks. Keyword bid adjustments. And by the way, I hated doing these. And I love the strategy side of Amazon PPC, but I hate the daily tasks. I pretty much hate the daily tasks of everything. We're all entrepreneurs. We hate the daily tasks. We love the strategy. But things like keyword bid adjustments, adjusting budgets, changing top of search bid adjustments, calculating what to bid on keywords, creating new campaigns, pausing keywords in old campaigns, pausing unprofitable search terms, and everything else that goes into Amazon PPC, I absolutely hated. And so my new strategy that I implemented had made me a lot more profitable. This was the 80-20 strategy, but it was taking up a ton of my time, and I couldn't focus on the bigger picture or the strategy of Amazon PPC. The software I used at the time was helping, but it didn't fully automate this for me. So I went on a mission to find the software. And Minya, I think this was like what you were talking about. So When you automate your Amazon PPC, this is the best way to start making more sales on Amazon and increase your organic rank and increase your profit so you can make more money for yourself and your business. That is if you do it right. And so with this, if you automate the right parts, which is this list in my mind, you can focus on the strategy. So this is kind of the old way of doing Amazon ads. Whoop, went too far. So the old way of doing Amazon ads is, doing multiple campaigns, multiple ad groups, going after hundreds, if not thousands of keywords, going after broad phrase and exact match types, doing giveaways, doing auto campaigns, which I hate, doing manual campaigns, manually doing all this and never knowing when the time is right, and then making sure that your bank account has more money going in, which is always the challenge with Amazon paying us every 2 weeks. And you want to make sure your bank account has more money going in than going out. But the problem is, as soon as your ACOS starts to climb a little higher, you don't really know how to help it. And then you're afraid of turning off your ads in fear of losing sales and fear of losing organic rank. And you aren't even sure what keywords the sales are coming from. Now, most of you guys on this call know where your keywords are coming from. So I like to call this hope and pray advertising. You don't really know what to do next, but the new way to do things is just automate the right parts of your Amazon PPC, that daily task I just showed you. And then you can do this all in less than 30 minutes per week. So then you can focus on the bigger strategy of Amazon PPC. Like I said, sponsored brands, sponsored display, DSP. You can broaden your advertising bandwidth, or you can focus it, or you can start coming out with new products. It's really that simple. Just automating the right parts of your Amazon PPC goes along with our 80-20 strategy, because it takes the daily tasks that take hours of your time per week, and it actually gives you hours back while spending less money, because all the software is doing is it's doing calculations and it's just thinking for you. What we used to do is we used to download these spreadsheets, calculate what the keyword bid should be, and upload them back up to it. And, if you're not doing this daily, you're not doing as well as what a software can be doing. So this allows you to focus on that big picture. And so if you get this part right, you could save thousands of dollars. But if you get this part wrong, it could cost you thousands and thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I want to go back to my story a little bit. And after 3 months of searching, I found a software that could do everything I wanted to and more. And when I implemented this in January 2020, it not only automated all those time-consuming daily tasks around Amazon PPC, but it also decreased my ACOS and scaled my ads even more. It plain and simple worked. And so this meant I had a better ACOS, which you can see by that blue line. You can see it's approaching that 50% in January, all the way down to whatever it is right now, around 36 to 38%. And, we had a better ACOS, less Amazon PPC costs. We're actually spending more per month, but as a result of more sales, we have more profit. And this is all something we're doing in less time. And so this was a friend of mine. Her name's Noelle. And I'll just go through her story real quick because it's pretty cool. She's an online physical product seller in the pet space. And she was doing about $150,000 per year when she came to me. And what I did is I just showed her how to automate the right parts of her business, and especially her Amazon PPC. And within a few weeks, she was able to start paying herself. And her why is she wants to get her husband to retire from the Army, and because he's deployed a lot. And so as a result of doing this and allocating her money better and then automating the right parts of Amazon PPC in her business, she scaled to $650,000. And then this year she's on track to hit 1.2 million. And she paid herself over 200,000 last year. So it's pretty cool to see her results from just the automation part, the elimination part, and especially this year where she almost doubled her business again just by automating the right parts of her Amazon PPC. So I was pretty excited about that. And that's just what she said. So I just wanted to go through my results a little bit more and just show you kind of January to this year. Yes, this is a Photoshopped image because you can't see both of those pictures at the same time. So I had to, take a picture and Photoshop it in there, but they are real results. But what we did is when we implemented the software, we went from spending 30 to make 60 to spending around 40 to make 110. And so the orange line is that ad sales. And this is an additional $10,000 in ad spend that we're doing per month, but it's resulted in almost $50,000 more per month in revenue. That's a net of $40,000 in more revenue per month with our lower ACOS, which means a ton more profit and a ton more money back in our bank account, which increases our cash flow, which allows us to grow and expand our business even more. So I want to go back to Tim. When we implemented secret number 1 and went 80-20 on him, we took him from 30K to 60K a month. And then I told you that we acquired him back in May, and we implemented automation back in May for his business. And we went from 60K to 90K a month, which is where we're at right now. That is $30,000 in more revenue per month with a lower ACOS, which again means more profit. So I've done it with, I showed you with iLove, I've showed you with Tim and his business, which is called MediViz. You'll see it under iLove's account now, but pretty much anyone can do this for any business, and it's worked across our entire clients. So secret number 2, automating the right parts of your business. I'll pause there again just to see if you guys have any questions on that and any questions on the automation piece. I think the biggest question I always get with this is, and I think you'll hear this over and over again, that you can't completely automate Amazon PPC. And I 100% agree with that. 100% agree with that to a certain point. But the daily tasks that I showed you, that list, going back to this you can completely automate all that. These are all mathematical formulas that can be automated by an AI machine, software, whatever you want to do. And you can focus on the bigger pictures. We used to do this manually before we found the software. So this can be automated 100%. All right, well, I'll briefly go through secret number 3 and then take questions again. And I'm going to go back just a little bit. And you guys already kind of know this because you're in this group, but I'm going to go back a little further in my Amazon journey back to 2016. And I was 1 year into my Amazon journey, and I was doing about 50K a month in total revenue. I was doing well, but like stated earlier, we wanted to quit our practices and go full-time in this business. To do that, we needed to make much more. And I was at I was actually at my first SellerCon Amazon conference, and I walked up to one of the gurus in the space who I'd been following for a while, and I thanked him for all his content and appreciated what he had done for us. In the conversation, he asked me, what mastermind are you in, and who's your coach? And at this time, I had no idea what a mastermind was. I knew what a coach was, but I told him that I wasn't ready for that because I didn't make enough. And he told me something that changed my life forever. No matter how much you pay for coaching in a mastermind, it should always pay for itself within a year. Have you ever thought about that? Like coaching as an investment? Obviously you guys have, because you guys are at that level, but this should give you a return on your money rather than thinking of it as an expense. So I wasn't really thinking that way at the time. And I went to dinner with him to hear his pitch for his mastermind and coaching. I was having a great 5-star dinner, and there's great networking with successful individuals that were doing much, much more than me. I still remember being at this dinner actually, and the person beside me was, doing the Amazon thumb flick that I like to call it, updating your sales. And he goes, we just hit it. And him and his wife started celebrating, and they had just hit $1 million per month in sales. And so it was really cool to be a part of that, as wow, you can really do a lot more with this business than what we're doing. And, I'm still good friends with a lot of those people that were at the dinner that night. So at the end of the night, he made his sales pitch. And the problem was the hefty price tag. It was $25,000 to join his mastermind. So I was thinking to myself, how can I come up with this money? And then he said it again. The investment should pay for itself the first year we work together. So without consulting my wife, which we're still married, and, we've had children, so all is good, I whipped out my credit card and paid for it. And, she's fully supported that decision because she knew it was what was best for us. So I just want to show you my results of just what masterminding coaching has done for us. The first year in business, this was, following in Dave's footsteps in ASM. And, we got to 86,000 in that first year, started in July with our first sale. In 2016, we did 1.2 million. And that was the first year I joined this mastermind and had a coach. And then I did 2.5 million the next year and 3.6 million third year with the mastermind and the coach. But what I did was something funny. I quit the mastermind, thought we could better invest in ourselves and instead invest in our business. And I can't tell you what a big mistake this was. This was the year we about sold. iLove dropped in revenue to 3.2 million. And, we about sold the business. And this sparked me to rejoin the mastermind, which was the conversation that led me to secret number 2, the eliminate, automate, delegate. And then we should make around 4 million this year, a little over it. And then we're on pace to do around 6 million next year. So I can't express what a mastermind and coaching can do for you. And obviously you guys all know that just because you guys are in this group right now. So I'm not going to get too much more in detail with this one, just because I talk to people that have never joined a mastermind before, and they don't realize the power of like-minded people. You know, Jim Rohn always says, or Jim Rohn, you guys hear this quote all the time, average of the 5 people you hang yourself around with most. So I'm going to pause there again and just kind of go over secret number 3. If you guys have any questions over anything I went over, I'd be happy to answer them. But just kind of quickly review while you guys are thinking of questions and unmuting yourself. So way too easy strategy that takes us less than 30 minutes per week is that 80-20 rule. Secret number 2 is automating the right parts of your Amazon PPC. PPC is math. And if you can get somebody or something to do the math for you and implement it for you, it pays dividends. And then finally, get around like-minded people. So any other questions?
Is in the automation, finding the 20% search terms that convert, is that automated, or you go through it every month or every week?
Yes, to both questions. So yeah, it is automated, but we go through it every month. So the software we use automates that. It actually does do what's called, I can't even think of the word right now, mine, thank you. It mines it and then creates it for you. And then we go through the search terms to just kind of double check to make sure. Usually it's pretty accurate. I've never seen really big discrepancies, but there are other things that you can do to kind of accelerate the process. And that's when it gets really fun, is you can find other search terms that may not show up on your report. But yeah, we usually try to make sure that everything on the search term report is accounted for in an exact match campaign and that it's actually serving. And so that's kind of the big thing, is making sure that it's getting impressions. And if not, see if you can fix that. That's impressive.
Yeah, I do. Sorry. You were talking about the profit margin. If you have a higher profit margin, you can spend some of the money in the sorry, I'm
Bye, Mrs.
dismissing them.
Mandabala.
I'm dismissing them at the same time. So, if you have a higher margin, then you can really give, some percentage to running the ads. Like my profit margin is really not that great. I think it's between 35 to 40%. So that, if you have to spend another, the margin on the ads to automate, it's how would you suggest that to really get your price up, and then you can still get the organic sales in?
You're going to hate the answer, but it is, raise your price. Don't be afraid to raise your price. Yeah.
And you, what about your competitors that their price are lower, but because you have a better PPC strategy, you go to before them? It's that.
It's always tricky, but I always believe that you can raise your price and then put a coupon on it. Not everybody's going to use the coupon. Usually coupons are used only at like a 30% rate, and if not lower than that. And I'm a huge fan of raising my price, putting a small coupon on it, 5%, just to get that little green badge. And that raises your margin right there. And that makes a huge difference. 35 to 40% isn't terrible. That's not a bad margin. But I always recommend testing anything. So if you're going to raise your price, test it. So I use the app Splitly. I don't know if they've recommended anything else for you, but Splitly is what I use to split test. And we always have split tests running. And you'd be amazed by price testing. I'm always against raising prices, but my team is always like, let's raise our price. Let's try raising our price. And I'm like, we're going to test it first. And every time we test it, the higher price almost always wins. Sometimes they tie, but then if they tie, then go with the higher price anyway, because then it's less logistics as well. Because if they tie, that means you're selling fewer at the higher price point, but that might not be a bad thing. So I'm a huge fan of raising your price and becoming a premium in the marketplace. And for those that have never heard of me, I am a big advocate of building an audience. And so when you have a higher margin, you can take more of that profit to then build your audience, and your audience will make you unstoppable anywhere you go. And so that's another way you can protect against high prices and being scared to raise your price. But always test it first. Don't do it across your whole line overnight. Test it one product at a time, and that will stress you out a lot less. We only do one product at a time. We have 3 tests running at all times. Usually we're split testing either photos or price.
I wanted to give you a example here, which I can't figure out, because during the pandemic time, I have one product that sold for $34, and basically keep going because I guess it's for the educational product. Kids will love to use it. And then right now, my competitor dropped his price to $16. And I was like, why am I not selling? And then, he's still number one. But the thing is, like, if my product could sell $34, why right now I can't get to that price right now? So because the competitor.
He might sell out. He might be just trying to clearance it.
Mm.
You
Okay.
never know. He's maybe trying to gain rank, but he's probably just unprofitably selling just to try to get rank. And it might not be sustainable. It might be, I don't know. It's very hard to assess every situation just because, everything is so different in this space.
I got a question.
There you go.
So I've got one product.
Wait a second. Who is this guy? Look at that guy.
Yeah, I got the nice beard, the
Wow.
goatee, the hair. It's crazy,
that.
I know.
Amazing.
I've got a product that's called the Piggyback Rider. Nobody else on the planet sells it or makes it. We invented it. We created it. We've been selling on Amazon for probably more than 5 years under our own account. We're mid 6 figures, and my goal is trying to get to $1 million in sales. And I mean, our ad cost is at less than 10%. We're spending anywhere between, we were spending about $2,500 a month before the pandemic. And obviously the pandemic sales went phenomenal. We ran out of stock. I'm about to get new stock in. The guy, so I automate, I work with a guy, he's a solo PPC guy. He keeps his pulse on it for me, and we have meetings twice a month. My question to him was, if I had the money, can we spend more money on advertising to make more money? And he came back and said, well, he only looks at things based on an ad cost. What do you want your ad cost to be? And I said, well, obviously it's great being at 10% or less, but then I look at people like what you just showed, Travis, that you're at 37%, but of course 37% with, I think it was like $50,000 in spend with, $100,000 in sales. I guess what I'm trying to ask is, people are shopping our brand name. I think we've got it pretty dialed in. Is my next and only play to be able to just, spend, instead of $2,500 a month, spend $5,000 to get more opportunity? Because I don't believe we've come close to scratching the surface as what we can sell with this product based on, people having kids every day. We're a toddler-based product for 2 to 4-year-olds. And hopefully I'm making sense here, am I able to just add more dollars to the PPC? Is that a waste, or should we be doing a lot more testing? When I hear things like Dave spending $1,000 a day and other people are spending thousands a day, and I'm only spending $2,500 in a month, should I take some of the extra money I have and throw it into PPC? Am I going to get more sales, or do I need to do a lot of heavy testing in order to figure out exactly, if spending more money will actually get me more sales?
Yeah, that makes sense. And what I would recommend for you is just, you got to explore. And so you see me spending, 40 to 50,000 to make 110 to 140,000, but you got to realize that I also have 20 to 25 different SKUs. And
Right.
So it's not just, one product. And so
Yep.
2,500 at a 10% ACOS is amazing results. And we have clients that love to hit that number and they don't want to scale. They don't want to go any further. Scale comes when you go after your break-even point and when you start exploring other words. So there are different ways that you can analyze your own product, analyze anything that might be slightly competitive. I know you said you're kind of in your own little world, but there might be other products that are competitive. Look at your frequently bought together, analyze those products, analyze the ones that are on your page, and figure out if there are other words out there that you could try going after. And go after those. It's going to be a more broad category, but it will cost more. Of course, it will bring your ACOS up, but you just got to figure out what your budget is per month, what your goal ACOS will be, because some of those words will be 100%. and you got to determine if you want to keep going after those or turn them off. And
Okay.
you just got to figure out what those words are by analyzing the data and exploring more data. And that's kind of a whole different presentation. But yeah, there's definitely room for growth if you're just mainly going after branded keywords.
Okay. Well, we've had I relate to what you said. For many years, we sold well off of keywords like child carrier and toddler carrier, and that's how we made a majority of sales. And just in the last 2 years as well, when we go look at the results, we now have people typing in our brand name piggyback rider and purchasing, and we have more of that than anything else. So we finally have become a real brand. We've grown up. People know who we are. But we want more of that. And, my Achilles heel has been, if I have to go to the bank and ask for more money, in order to make more sales, I can do that. And, the team that I'm working with, he's kind of held me back a little and said, I don't work on, hey, if you want to spend, $10,000 in a month, I work on the ad cost, that rate of, 10%, 20%, where do you want to hold at? So I guess it does come down to that budgetary type of thing of saying, if I can afford to spend $5,000 a month, then spend $5,000, but do the testing to try to figure out where best to spend it.
Yeah. So the cool thing about this strategy is you can do as much as you want with it or as little as you want. And, I have clients that come to us saying they want to scale, but once you hit scale and once you start to scale, it's extremely uncomfortable and it will push you further than anything else, your limits, because you're spending more on advertising. You're then having to buy more inventory, which means your cash goes way down, but you're still profiting. And so that's the hard part, is you have to cycle that cash fast enough to be able to buy more inventory to pay for the advertising. And we're actually going through that challenge right now. Is we had a couple products hit really hard and hit in a good way. And we went up to 75 to 100 sales per day on both of these products, actually 3 of these products. And we were only selling 30 to 50 before that. And so that increase, we had to put an order in for 27,000 units of 3 different products. And it was just like, wait, what's our inventory bill? And I was like, I have to stop advertising. I can't expand. So what we've done is we've, consolidated our advertising a little bit to save some money. And then once we get the inventory back in and paid for, we'll broaden it back up. And so we just tighten it up. And the cool thing about the strategy that I talk about is you can do that with like the click of a button. And you can kind of say, okay, we're going after a 55% ACOS. Let's go down a little bit. And then all those automation parts that I talked about, those daily tasks, you can flip a switch and it switches that down. So it will tone down your bidding to help with that.
Okay. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, hey, if there's not questions, I'm going to make you guys an offer. There's no pressure, high pressure sales here. Ask me any questions that you have about the offer here. Send me a message on Facebook. Doesn't really matter. I'm going to share my screen one more time if I can. And, this is my typical webinar that I give to cold audiences. So I'm going to kind of skip through a couple parts of it just to kind of save your all's time because we've had a lot of great questions. So this is my, how many of you are feeling overwhelmed right now over what we just covered? So I know that this topic can be a little overwhelming with Amazon PPC, but it's what I'm passionate about. It's what one of my superpowers is. I say that iLove does 3 things well. We create content, we build audiences, and we do Amazon PPC really well. So my language isn't very good though, so I messed up there. But what I have to offer you guys is just a basic masterclass that we've made. There's the pineapple, Dave. And what we're going to go over in this masterclass is just how to automate your Amazon PPC. And what we do is we just kind of set you up to succeed with this strategy in part 1. And then in part 2, we talk about accelerating your Amazon PPC sales. And then we're going to teach you how to monitor things, when to pause things to maximize sales and spend less. And then we talk about expansion and going into that discovery mode. And then we'll talk about finally how to optimize to get better organic rank and expand to sponsored brands, display, DSP, and all that we talked about. And so going back to Greg's, this is Greg. Greg actually was in the same group as Boris. Boris and Greg went through this together, BZ on the call. And, Greg's results were phenomenal. He posted this in one of our Facebook groups that we're in together, and that his profit was up 40%, and he's spending hours less per month on Amazon PPC. And so his results were just amazing, but it's not just his results. It's also Adam Smith, and Adam Smith says, I'll second that. This is actually a comment to his testimonial, and he strongly recommends this approach. It's substantially driven his ad sales, total sales, and lowered his ACOS, and there's still more to come. And my favorite thing is last week's mastermind call. Adam said, Travis, you've made me a lazy Amazon PPCer because I don't even look at it anymore. And that scares me. And so it's really cool to see that. And he's still accelerating. And then I just had to throw this in here. This has nothing to do with the course, but I had to throw Dave's in. Dave said, I'm the real deal, as he teaches exactly what he does in his own successful business. So Dave, you wrote that for me a long time ago. And yes, you spelled my name wrong, but that's okay. No hard feelings. Just a little bitter about that.
Yeah, it was just me typing it wrong. It's you could have corrected it. You don't have to leave it in there messed up.
No, it's fine. I'm okay with it.
My bad.
No worries. I'm just giving you a hard time. So most of you guys are probably at this level, and I always recommend, like, if you're going to do this, to be doing over 25,000 a month in your business. If you have capital and you're doing less than that, it still works, but you have to have the funds available to be able to invest in Amazon PPC and the software that we use. It's not my software, it's someone else's. You guys already mentioned it, Quartile. But the thing is, you should have an incredible brand that you're looking to scale. You need to operate your business with integrity and great values, because that's what I like to work with. I don't like to work with people that are just in for the quick dollar. It's just not my ideal of a good time. And you got to be willing to take action to transform your Amazon PPC, but you're going to save time. So if you're not doing 25K, reach out to me. And, I have a free course that's available. It takes a lot more time, but it will save you money, and it will save you in your Amazon PPC. I'm not going to go through these stack slides. These are just kind of the value that we give to everything. So about $10,000 for that masterclass. You're also going to get my standard operating procedure as well. This is the exact thing that when we hire a new team member in our agency, we hand them this and we say, learn it inside out, go through it once, start to manage somebody's account, go through it again, manage somebody's account, go through it again. And so you're going to get this exact SOP, standard operating procedure, for that. And that's usually valued at about $1,000 for our SOP, probably worth more than that, because it's like the secrets to our trade. And, just kind of like to bring this full circle, this masterclass is going to decrease your time spent on Amazon PPC, but it's going to increase your profits, decrease your ACOS, and it's going to give you our way too easy strategy to keep up with Amazon PPC. I'm going to walk you through everything that we do, essentially. And I want you to remember when I talked about that 25-hour course that left me more confused afterwards. When I went through that, I decided right then and there that after taking that course, that if I ever figured this out, I would share it with the world in an understandable level and get right to the point. And so everything you learn is easy to understand and follow, but questions will come up, which is why we have our mastermind. And on our mastermind calls, we jump on a call every 2 weeks on Monday. And on these calls, you get all your questions answered. And so the mastermind is just full of Amazon experts, just like yourself, people that are selling a lot on Amazon. It's a high level mastermind. And we offer accountability, support, and I've made quite a few friends in that, even though we just started this in August. It's something that, I consider a lot of these people my good friends. And I believe that the mastermind alone, as you guys know, is worth the price of admission, because you're in this mastermind with Dave and Norman, and you see the value in that. And so that's why I believe it's worth the price alone. I've spent close to $300,000 on masterminds. And as a result of that, we make about more than that in a month on Amazon. So something to keep in mind. So yeah, there's your total value slide. But inside the mastermind as well, and inside the standard operating procedure, I'm going to give you my how to get more 5-star reviews. This is going to save you time editing your email script, because I'm going to give you my email follow-up that is 100% Amazon TOS compliant, even with the recent changes. And it's so simple. And of course, in true I love fashion, it is automated. It takes about 15 minutes to set up once, and then you don't do anything else after that. And so with this system, we get close to 700 reviews a week as a result of this system. It's pretty amazing what we do. Mind you, we sell about 500 products a day. And so the volume is there, but we get about 700 people that leave reviews as a part of this. And it leads to more positive reviews and a better customer service, which is a win-win for you and a win-win for Amazon. So Amazon likes you better because you get higher ratings and reviews. Higher ratings and reviews means lower ACOS, lower Amazon PPC costs, and more profit in less time. And so how to get reviews is my most frequent question that I get. My second most frequent question I get is how to launch on Amazon. And so what I'm going to do is show you exactly how and give you my SOP. It's incredibly simple. I love how we launch on Amazon, but we just launched about a month ago, and we sold 500 units of that one product in the first 2 days. And we got a ton of great reviews from it. I've never shared my launch strategy until I released it inside our mastermind. And it takes less time, and it doesn't have a bunch of crazy softwares. I know the in thing right now is ManyChat, and to do this ManyChat flow to give 100% mail-in rebate, blah, blah, blah. It's not that. It's pretty simple. And then my favorite bonus, of course, of all is any future masterclasses I come out with are included. And if you're in my mastermind for this, is you'll get those for free. My goal is to build I Love to a 10-figure brand and then exit, or excuse me, 10 figures. I wish 8 figures, 10 million, and then probably exit. So this is something that if you're in the mastermind, you'll get all my future masterclasses free. So this is kind of what I'm offering right here. The Amazon PPC masterclass, the standard operating procedure, and the mastermind. I'm actually going to be charging for the mastermind $5,000 per year after this year is over. But right now we're going to give it to you for this lifetime access for this price. So, I'm not going to charge you what that total value is. That's just kind of a scarcity mentality. But it's going to show you some pretty cool stuff. And I want to get down to an example here to save you guys some time. And that bottom sentence, what does this look like as far as like what it can do to your ACOS? So let me go through that. I'm going to reveal a price to you. And that's the website that you can go to join us. We're charging a one-time fee of $2,997 to join our mastermind and to get the masterclass and to get the SOP for not only the Amazon PPC, but also how we launch and then how we get more 5-star reviews as a result of that. To give you an example, if you were to hire my agency to do this for you, it would cost more than $29.97 just to onboard with us and pay for a month of service. But because you're learning to do this yourself and we're giving you the tools and resources, we're going to make you pay just once of $29.97. And this, again, is my exact system. So, if all this did was reduce your ACOS by 5%, think about what this would be worth for you. Now, you don't have to think about it because I actually did it for you. So if you're spending $5,000 per month on Amazon PPC, this is an example of what 5% ACOS can do for you. So if you're at 50% ACOS, and it doesn't matter if you're higher, if you're at 100% going down to 95%, the numbers still work the same, essentially, kind of. But if you're at 50%, you're spending 5,000, you're making 10,000. But if you drop it by 5 percentage points, you're then making $1,111 more per month, which when you take that out to the year is a 445% return on your investment. 445%. What's the average of the stock market? Like 10%. Now, I don't want to get political here. I already hear Dave saying, but it's already going up like 30% and it went down. But you can see that. So like when we went from 50 to 35%. And if we would have bought this course for $3,000, it would have been a 1,716% ROI. Now I want to take it a step further and show you if you're spending $10,000 per month. So if you're spending $10,000 per month and you're at a 50% ACOS, which is making about $20,000, and we drop it by 5 percentage points to 45%, it's going to make you an extra $2,222 per month. Take that out for the full year. If you invest $3,000 and you're now making an additional, $30,000, your ROI is 890%. And then if we drop it as much as we did with I Love, that 15 percentage points, you're going to make an additional $8,571 per month. So that's pretty cool to see, like, if you spent $10,000. Now I'm going to take it one step further again. This is where we were at. We were spending 30 to make 60. When we dropped it down to 35%, we then made 25% more, which was it would be a $10,296% ROI. So you spent $3,000 to make an additional $300,000. I mean, it's a no-brainer when I actually did these numbers out, and I was like, it's like impossible not to buy this course, because if it just drops you by 5%, then it pays for itself within the first month, especially if you're doing a high level advertising like 30,000. So I just wanted to kind of go through those examples just to kind of show you guys what that was. So you guys have the choice now. You can continue doing what you're doing. But if you're frustrated with Amazon PPC, I'd love to take you on this journey and love to work with you. So if you decide not to, you can just keep going how you are today, and you'll get the same results that you are. And if you take the leap of faith and test this out with us, I'd love to take you on the journey with us. I know this mastermind that Dave and Norman have put together is very high level, and so I know it will work for most of you. And if you're worried about that, then that's okay, because we have 100% satisfaction guarantee. So if you jump in with us and decide after 30 to 60 days, there's no hard set 60-day limit or anything, but after 60 days, if you need your money back, just let me know. You can test drive the strategy, see if it works. And if it doesn't, then let me know, and we'll give you a full refund. And even if it does only half it claimed today, it will pay for itself in less than a month. And so it's pretty amazing. It's worked. We've sent over 35 people through it. It's working for them. It's incredibly great. I have not been asked for a refund, knock on wood, out of those 35. So it's been a lot of fun. But of course, I wanted to give you guys 2 more bonuses, but I am going to put scarcity on it. And the first 5 people from this phone call and the webinar, even if you're watching the replay, if you're one of the first 5, we're going to jump in the call with you, or we're going to jump into your account with you and really help you build this whole thing out. And so go through the first couple of videos with you, really help you. We're going to do it for you. We're going to do the build for you. You'll work with one of my Amazon PPC specialists to do that build. And we price it at a value of $997, but it's worth so much more than that, because we've done it a million times. We've done it with all of our clients. We've done it in iLove, and we continue to do it inside the group in the mastermind with other people that have done this. So we'll get in there and build it with you. We're not going to implement it for you, but we'll show you what we would do if we were in your shoes. And then finally, if you guys are using Quartile already through Dave, you might have got this discount already, but if not, then I have a 55% off coupon for you. Dave's probably got the same thing though, so you can go through him too. So that's kind of what I have for you. And our special Dave price is $29.97, and you just head to AmazonAdvertisingPros.com, and that's our landing page. It's nothing fancy. You're not going to see a sales page or anything. It's just a checkout page. So AmazonAdvertisingPros.com. You can head there to check out, and I'm excited, and I believe that pretty much this group, just because I know Dave, I know Norm, I know how good you guys both are, I believe that this will be successful for you, and I'd love to work with you. So I'm going to stop it right there and just see if you guys have any questions for me. I have a couple, questions that people always ask me. And I don't feel like that applies to you all. People always ask me if I want to help so many people, like, why don't I give it away for free? I don't believe in anything for free, especially at such a high level like this, because you don't take action. And you guys are a group of action takers, so you understand that. But a lot of people, when they get something for free, they don't take the action that they should. And then, so I will take questions from all of you if you have any. But I'd love
I have a couple. Sorry.
Yeah, go for it.
So you've worked with supplement brands before, correct?
Oh yeah, that's pretty much our whole agency.
Sounds like. I was in that category of, probably still am, listening to this though. My business is special because of the difficulties with, CPC, the cost per click, and so this is being my main brand, being a supplement brand. I should get this. You would still recommend this for me?
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing how well it works, and like I said, if it doesn't work for you, which I don't think I think it will, just let me know, and you're going to work with us. This isn't something that we put out to the masses. We actually only work with like select groups of people that we bring in, and when we enroll people, it's usually like 5 to 10, and we do that on purpose because we know this will be successful, and we want to give you the right amount of support that you need. And that's the reason we keep it to small groups. And that's why we came to Dave and Norm to do this. And we know it will work because it's worked so well for so many brands that we've worked with. We did this through our agency before we ever released it to anybody else. And then we put our first group of students through it in August, and we've sent about 35 through it. And like I said, nobody's asked for a refund, and most of the results have been positive.
It kind of answers my other question, I think. My other question was, have you had any, like especially supplement or highly competitive brands sort of fail doing this where it actually hurt them versus, because that's why I haven't already done Quartile and started some of the processes that I already know, is because I'm worried that, you know, I spend a considerable amount on advertising, and I'm worried that if I try to start chipping away and getting my ACoS down, that it's going to, you know, bring my whole, you know, sales and everything down, organic rank and all that has been my concern.
Yeah. So we would talk about a very specific strategy with you around that. And there is a way to do that, to bring down your ad costs, but to not shock your business overnight. Because that's the biggest, it terrified me more than anything when Quartile, like when we started with Quartile, but we committed to it for 2 weeks and it turned around. And there are different ways, different strategies that you can kind of not shock your business. And that's what we'll probably implement with you. We'll probably work pretty closely with you just because you're in a supplement place, and that's what we are. And we'll talk about ways that you can kind of really work with Quartile to fix your advertising costs without hurting your sales. And eventually what will happen is you'll hit a point that you'll find a specific endpoint of where you need to be. And that's when it gets fun. It's called relaxing in the numbers. Once you find that number that like you can settle on, then Amazon PPC becomes fun again, and your business becomes fun again. And it expands your mind to be able to focus on everything else that you could be doing with your business. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah. I think I'm going to go take that off of it. Yes.
Welcome aboard. I'll be talking to you soon. The email comes straight to me, so I'll be able to see it.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
I like that picture I found of you, Dave.
Yeah, Mina, go ahead. You go first.
Okay. You mentioned something about product launch and you know, like you using ManyChat and things like that.
No, I don't use ManyChat.
Oh, don't use ManyChat. Yeah, because I find it very, very confusing. So, you know, and the rebates don't seem to work either right now. So if you have a good, I guess, you know, if that's going to be working, then I'm definitely going to be in. Yeah.
So the cool thing about my launch strategy is that with you guys coming on now is we're actually launching a product probably within the next month. And so you guys are going to literally, I'll have you guys over my shoulder looking at my computer screen while we go through this launch together. And you'll get to see kind of firsthand if it's a success or a failure. And like I said, our last launch a month ago, we sold 500 in 2 days. And we'll show you exactly how we do that. And then you guys can replicate that. And we have additional training in there as well for other things like audience building. That's another big part of what I believe in. That training I have for free on my website, but I'll point you in that direction too. But yeah, how to launch on Amazon today. I give you 2 different ways to do it, and they're both non-tech savvy. You don't need any softwares for it. You don't need anything really. You just need Amazon, and you just need some simple, it's incredibly simple. People overcomplicate it in my mind, and that's what we're going to teach you. And then the review strategy is, once you guys see that, you'll be like, wow, that's incredibly simple too. And we stress so much about reviews, and using this strategy is amazing. And it's led us to go from one of our main products always hovered around 4.2 to 4.3. So it always dropped to 4 stars, go up to 4.5 stars. Using this strategy, we're up to 4.4 now. And so we're not ever hovering around that, you know, only showing 4 stars on Amazon. And it's dramatically increased our sales as a result.
That's awesome, Travis. Any guys have any more questions? Feel free to. There's nothing in the chat, but feel free to mic up there. Boris is already doing this with you. Is he one of the 35?
Heck yeah, Boris is like person 4, I think.
Nice. Boris, do you want to share anything to give everyone encouragement of what you're already seeing in your account?
Hey guys, yes, it's really amazing information, and it's not working for me. Is it supposed to? But I think it's because the echo is still high. But I think it's going the right direction. So, but definitely it's combination is quartile plus what Travis just shared should work. But I guess it's not working like 100% for every account, but. Still, I think it's very good strategy, and we see some improvements. So like sales went up like crazy, but also it's echoes. I mean, we right now before we started, like our echoes was around 45% with quartile, and that strategy sales almost increased by 30-40%, but like echoes went to 80-90%. And I worked with different assistant from quartile, and because maybe that was one of the reasons, because one of the support changed, and the second guy do a little bit different strategy. So I probably think that was one of the reasons, but it started getting like echoes start going down. So
Hey, Boris, my one recommendation for you, without looking at your account, but yeah, jump on our masterminds, because we could probably hash out some problems that you might be having, is I'm guessing quartile is going very ATM heavy. And that is like one of my biggest pet peeves is their ATMs. So look to see if you have a lot of ATMs running. To give you an example, in our iLove account, we only have one ATM running now, and that's for our main product. But we actually shut all their ATMs off because the ACOS was around that 90%. And, we're like, it's never coming down. So we just shut them all off and told them not to turn them back on. So yeah, look at those ATMs and see, because with how far along you are, you should have enough exact phrase and broad campaigns that you don't really need those autos. They'll tell you never to shut off your autos. And I'm here to tell you that shut them off, because they may be costing you. They're probably the reason your ACOS is so high.
Yeah, you're right.
We've had the same issue too, because I've been talking with Carla, who's my campaign manager, and she said, "Oh no, we need to have those. We need to have them on. We need to have them on." I said, "Why? I mean, I've been running some of these campaigns for 5 years. We already know what works, what doesn't work, But yeah, that's interesting. So I could probably just talk to them about that. Hey, Boris, because I get an update on all our people that's in our group and whatever. They told me that you actually don't have quartile anymore. Are you still with quartile?
Yeah, so what we did, I told him, so I want to run like 1 month to see if we can manage to lower the echo, and we'll see how that's work.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, because I get the report every month saying who's active, who's not active, and such. So, all right, cool. And then who had the other? There was another question that was going to come in there.
Oh, it's me.
Yeah.
This is actually funny. When you say that shut off the ATM. 2 weeks ago, my sales, well, right now it's like 4 weeks ago, the sales were for some of the campaigns of doing okay. But then right now I have Eduardo, and he shut off my auto campaign. Then all the sales on those campaigns went down. And now I asked him to turn it back on. The sales hasn't come back yet. So that's kind of funny. Well, Travis, would you have any suggestion if we're doing quartile, and then you will be able to say, doing this or doing that?
Yeah, so we go over a couple things, and it's one of the first videos that we talk about really accelerating quartile and how to do it intelligently and not do it through them, because they are a big ATM guy. They're all about like, let the software do the auto campaign and let it just take off. And I don't recommend that. We actually will show you 2 or 3 different strategies on looking at your product and really diving into the data, not just on your search term reports, but in other areas too. And then taking that data, inserting it into quartile to really accelerate things. It's actually one of the first things we do for our clients to really give them that, wow, this really works. And it gives that wow factor. So it's really cool. We'll actually teach you how to accelerate quartile. So if you already have it, that's great. So you've already got to implement it, and you'll have a lot of data. And then we'll teach you different ways to pull data for each product and then use it inside quartile.
So Travis, I got a question for you. So when it comes to quartiling, one of the things that we've been doing in this group, the ones that have quartile, is kind of, let our campaign manager take it over. And to be honest with you, that's what I've been doing. I just have them running it for me. I haven't even touched my PPC whatsoever. By bringing you guys on with what's already happening with Quartile, how does that, you already said some of it too, but, the extra stuff that we're doing, what would you say percentage wise, is going to impact what Quartile is already doing for those of us that already had that software?
Yeah, so Quartile is great and their account managers are great, but their account managers aren't they have their like set ways, and the way we do it is more of an acceleration path, because they want you to let Quartile find all the data itself. And they do have a good algorithm to help accelerate that process. But what we do is we just we teach you a more strict monitoring technique than Quartile. They like to let things just run, in my mind. And that's what my experience was. They kind of like to let things run for a long period of time. And we'll teach you how to just button that up a little bit. But the most important one is what I just went over, was the acceleration part. We'll teach you how to accelerate it so you can get results faster. And we're going to focus on that 80-20. We're going to focus on the exact search terms to bring you scale, to bring you more sales that are more profitable. We just brought on a client that had 1,600 SKUs. And as you can imagine, that's a lot of data to crunch. And, we talked to Quartile and they're just like, yeah, just run a bunch of ATMs. And so we started ATMs and, it wasn't doing that well. So then we did our acceleration process 7 days later, and we jumped right back up to where they were before. Cause their advertising was going, and then it kind of went down when we started Quartile. And then now we're starting to go back up even higher than we were before as a result of using our acceleration process. And like I said, it's just analyzing. It's analyzing the data that Amazon gives you, analyzing the data that you get from different tools and software. And then we bring it all together to build this big Quartile upload. And we show you how to do all that, of course. And then once you upload it, you then just watch it. And it's as simple as that. So it's just mostly like teaching you how to use the data to drive more accelerated sales, and then how to track it. Tracking is such an overlooked part of Amazon PPC. We have software and everything, but I'll show you our tracking sheet that we use, and that's free on my website. But we do a very specific way to track sales, is the ultimate tracker, but we show you kind of what we use to track all that. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that some of you guys might have been thinking that too. So no, thank you for sharing that.
What's this picture from?
The one you just grabbed off the internet?
Yeah.
Norman and I were, what was it, about almost 2 years ago now, I want to say. It's gonna be 2 years ago this spring, right, Norman? That we actually were doing a promotion with somebody, and they did this. They took our pictures and turned us into Greek warriors.
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah. So Norman's was his like stood over me like he was this big mammoth guy, but all I did was take my slingshot and just pop him in the head, and I knocked him over.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's my son's favorite story. I read it to him every night.
That's right. Doesn't matter how much he towers over me, I can still take him down. Norman, you've been quiet today. You have anything you want to ask or share with Travis?
I said I've got secret number 1, 2, and 3 written down. I was taking a few notes. Yeah, all's good.
I had one other question. You guys hear me okay?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. So it's kind of a minor issue. My main thing is getting the supplement brand launched. I just bought the offer to Travis. So
cool. Thanks.
I have like 2 main brands. My main supplement brand, and then I have a dog supplement and products brand. It's a little smaller. And then and they're on separate Amazon accounts. I have permission and everything. And then I have like 3 more small brands that have like 2 or 3 products each. And that's been one issue, is all my focus ends up on the main brand that's making me the money, right? And so these other little, and a big reason is because of like switching back and forth between the Amazon accounts and everything that I do purchase, a lot of times it's only for one account. And so I was wondering if you knew anything about quartile and how I'd like to have it for everything, but with the different accounts, I don't know if that's possible or.
It is. So yeah, with our agency that we have one account. And so one account, we compile everything into it. So you could almost approach them and say, you know, I have 4 different Amazon accounts. They actually, they don't do, the nice thing about quartiles, they don't do a percentage. They're not like, you know, 2,500 plus 2.5% of your total ad spend.
Yeah.
It's based on your total ad spend flat rate. And so, you know, if you have 5 different accounts, they'll combine all the ad spend that you have per month in each of those accounts. And that's where they'll come up with their price. They don't necessarily like ding you with having 5 accounts.
That's great to hear. Good. Okay. Awesome.
Because trust me when I say with 16 accounts, you'd think our ad bill would be, or our software bill would be, it is high, but it's not as high as like if we had to share some of that ad spend percentage with them.
Right. Okay. Great to hear. Thank you.
I have one question. So I did have a call with Quartile, but I haven't signed up yet, even though Dave keeps bugging me to, and I'm going to. But my question, I've heard from a lot of people in this group and outside the group, and I think someone just said it today, that in the beginning when you start, your ACoS is really high, so you're spending a lot more before you really see the results, which is fine. But how long would you say to give it before you really start to see the benefits from it?
Yeah, great question. So this is my ads account. See, we just hit 1 million. Pretty cool, year to date. So you're looking at sales right now. And then you can just kind of see, like, this is my expectation. We started this on January, like 30th. And so our old strategy, and then you can just see the slow scale and then boom, it hit. Then we've had 11 products suspended in the last 3 months since August. It's been great, but that's why we've kind of had this dip. And then we were almost full strength again in October, but we still have 2 products out right now. And then you can kind of see the spend here too. So our spend actually started going down a little bit as our revenue was increasing. So there's 30 to make 60. Actually, I think ACoS would be better fit for what you asked. So you can see month 1, we went from 50 to 41. Month 3 was 36. And then we've kind of stayed around that 36 to 40 range for the rest of the time.
Okay.
Depending on how aggressive we want to get.
I have a friend who tried it for a couple of weeks, Anisi, Dave, and he really only did it for a few weeks and said it was costing too much and he ended it. But he's kind of more in the beginning of his Amazon journey.
That's why I recommend 25K a month or more.
Okay.
Yeah. And, you know, there's no right and wrong PPC strategy in my mind, but there is one strategy that everybody should follow, and that's persistence. What I see going wrong is like everybody's trying different strategies and they're trying to piecemeal all of them together. And that's when things kind of get kind of haywire. So you're going to get the strategy that we use in iLove, but also across our agency. And the reason we use this strategy is so we could scale our agency. We went from, when we switched to Quartile and implemented our strategy, we went from being able to serve 5 clients per like account manager to 15 to 20 clients per account manager. And so it made a huge difference in just how much time we got back, and we were able to scale that as a result. And as you can see from like the ACoS, it should pay for itself within 2 months. And most people that are just beginning on this Amazon journey, if they have like a 2 weeks into it, they'll quit it when really they're just starting to get to the optimization point. But if that's something that makes you nervous, that's why we have our monitoring video, and we teach you the exact strategy we use. As you can see, here's my ATM, and I'll show you. ATMs are auto campaigns. That's what they usually like to start with. You can see that we have 1. Let me do this actually, so you can just see ATMs.
Yeah, I see a second one down there.
Do we have a second? Oh, we just
look at
started
that.
this one. I know we just started this one. I think this is our omega-3 actually.
But yeah, I have tons, so it's interesting to see that's you
this
now
is
told them that, or you just turn it off yourself when they come on.
I turn them off. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sorry, I lied. We have 2 on. But this product we just got back, it was suspended for 3 months, so that's probably why it's on. But yeah, you can see they're high,
No, they're ridiculous. But what happens, from what they told me, Travis, is that that's where they then turn on. That's where they kind of isolate the individual campaigns from. So if you do that, so where are they getting there? Is that where you're putting your stuff into it, where they're turning on?
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Now this making sense. So they won't do it themselves without. So to put the two together, it has to have basically the stuff that you're doing here. That's what you're offering, really.
Yeah. So the biggest thing that I see with ATMs is they get ASINs. So ATMs, auto campaigns get ASINs, and they pull ASINs out to do product targeting campaigns, which Quartile automates product targeting campaigns. They also started automating the creation of sponsored display product targeting campaigns, which is really cool. But that's the biggest advantage to auto campaigns, is being able to mine those ASINs. But I teach you a strategy inside the course that it's an amazing strategy to dominate that 80-20 search term report. And I teach you how to go after the search terms that you're already winning for, and now it's time to dominate for them. And it's a really cool strategy. Once you start to see it, I'll see if I can give you an example. Competitor, you can see we're number 4 on their list. We sometimes teeter at number 3, number 2. They bid $25 per click over this. That's why I like to click them. They're a pharmaceutical company. They don't have a soul. They're publicly traded, so feel free to click away. But once you start to dominate like search terms that are going after either broad or your competitors, we just teach you how to dominate and be all over their listings. So there's 1, there's 2, 3, there's an account I manage. And then when you come down here, there's 4. And so we're all over their listing. And that's the goal. There's 5, 6, 7, 8. This is the brain we bought in May. So that's our goal, is we teach you how to kind of be all over different search terms that you're already dominating for. And then when you come down here, we usually had this video ad. They just added this, so that's fun. And there we are again, organically. So we just teach you how to dominate the search terms that are working for you. That's a competitor example, but we talk about competitors too in the thing.
So did I hear you correctly, Travis, when you were talking before? And I know you probably got to go, and I appreciate you staying on as long as you have. I'm glad we had a bunch of people who came on with lots of inquisitive questions. My question for you is that I think I already know the answer to this, but you had mentioned things that you don't do with you will share your launch strategy in there. But if I heard you correctly, are you not doing any giveaways at all anymore? Are you just doing everything with PPC?
We do a giveaway, but it's not like complicated like people make it. Okay. And I'll teach you both a very simple way, and then I'll teach you a very not as simple way, but still pretty simple. Both are simple ways to launch, but the one requires absolutely no tech, and the other one requires a little bit of tech and a little bit more work. Not like ManyChat software combination, anything like that, but like as simple as like a Google form tech.
So that makes sense for the tech, but as far as
giveaways, yeah,
I'm just curious. I'm just trying to get an idea. You don't have to share if you don't want to.
No, I'll share as much as you want. So like we do a 100% giveaway to our two people first, and I'll show you how to do that if you want to do that, so it doesn't explode in your face. And then we also do a big discounted launch after we do that big giveaway, and you can do both for a launch. And the launch process that, I learned this back in February from somebody that, grew their business and sold it for like 5 million. And I just learned from them and tried it on ours. And it works so incredibly well that we run launches for long periods of time now. So we'll do that big launch at the beginning, and then we'll run a discount for a long period of time to get more sales and get more reviews and everything. Yep. I guess another example I could show you guys is eyelid wipes. So this is our product right here. This is the brand we bought in May, but this product we launched in June. And for the search term eyelid wipes, it's already number 5. And this is a highly competitive search term. Everybody that's ahead of us, these are all huge brands. Like this is a $50 million company. They've been around since the 90s. This product's been around since the 90s. This is a pharmaceutical company, another pharma company. So it's hard to beat them out, but occasionally I'll jump up to number 3. But we've been launching this product since June, and we've already got it up to number 5 organically for this listing. Again, lots of reviews, lots of positive reviews. And yeah, and so we talk about, this is the example I always give in almost all my examples, is these 2 products.
Lots of high level good stuff, Travis. Thank you so much.
It's
for
gonna
being
get
on
taken
here
over by a
today.
toddler pretty soon. So
Yeah, I was gonna say it's almost past nap time.
No, it's school. He's coming home from school.
Oh, school. Okay, all right. 3 o'clock. Your time coming up.
Yep, that's when we get him.
All right. Anything else, guys? Last call for questions.
One thing real quick. Your products that you're having trouble with them being taken down, is it the thing that's kind of going on right now with the
so
combination of everything?
we're mostly in eye care and skincare. So with eye care and skincare, they're getting more strict and they need certain testing done. And we never knew what the testing was, and they finally gave it to us. And it's called RIPT testing, RIPT, RIPT testing, repeat insult patch testing. So if you have any skincare items, make sure you get that done. And then since we focus on eyelids with eyelid wipes and eyelid sprays and all these other things that go in or near the eye, we had to get bovine corneal testing, which is a cow cornea. And they test it for irritability because your cornea is the front dome on the front part of your eye. And they test it for irritation. And if it irritates it too much, then you can't sell it. And so we had to get all that testing done for all 11 products, which, put us back about $30,000. It was great.
I appreciate you sharing. I just was wondering. It sounds like different issues than I've had. I've had a bunch of issues lately with listings being taken down. So much so I thought I was being attacked, but then
you're being attacked by Amazon, Mike. That's where you're being attacked.
Yeah, being attacked by Amazon.
Well, we have competitors in our space, the one I showed you. And these guys right here. These guys and the other ones I showed you. These guys, they both like to attack us. They like to throw lawsuits at us all the time. So it's a lot of fun.
Lovely.
They're not they're just dumb lawsuits that mean nothing. And we just say, okay, and we ignore them and they go away.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thanks for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate you joining the course too. So I'm looking forward to onboarding you here in just a little bit.
Looking forward to it. Unfortunately, I leave in 2 days for the Baja 1000, where I'm going to be gone for.
Go ahead, brag on yourself for a little bit, Mike. Go ahead. tell us about your trip and what you're going to be doing.
I'm going to be racing in the Baja 1000. I'm running half of it, so 500 miles. In a Can-Am X3 Pro. It's actually the top UTV Pro class. And we have a chance because we raced the Baja 500. And because of the way points work, we actually have a chance to win the overall championship if we come in a podium or like maybe first or second place.
So cool thing about that is I was in Todos Santos last spring doing a mission trip, and the Baja came through Todos Santos. It's like an hour north of Cabo. I just walked out of clinic and all of a sudden it was just like in the middle of the town, this Baja race just flies through and we're just like, okay, that was cool.
What was that? Well, you guys can follow Mike. I know he posts the link on his Facebook, but go ahead, Mike. You want to share the link that we can follow you during the race? Do you have it yet?
Sure. Yeah, I can post it. I'll post it on the AMZ and beyond.
Put it in our group. We definitely you gotta put some prayers out there for Mike and his team too, because they like to go fast. It's dangerous. Some of the stuff that they do, man, it's dangerous. And but they know what they're doing. They have a great team with them. And we wish you a lot of luck, Mike. Hey, and then Travis, because Mike, I was just talking to him a little bit PM in the background there. I told him wouldn't it be better for him to start Quartile while he's gone, just so it can pick up and be ready for by the time he gets back, or would you say wait?
Yeah, what you can do is you can actually plug it into your Amazon account and let it start to accumulate data, but tell them not to turn it on and just let it accumulate the data. And usually it only takes 3 to 4 days, but you'll start to get that data in your system. And then once you're ready to launch, then you can launch after that.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
And just so you know too, because Mike and I have been talking about this for a few months, that he wants to go a step further with them with some of the what are those ads called, Mike? The big 30,000 ones.
DSP.
Oh,
the DSP ads.
I didn't do that, but
right. But you can do it with Quartile.
Yeah, we
Really?
can talk about that, Mike, and because we do it right now, and we've been doing it for about 6 weeks now. So I go over my results in the group of that.
Okay, great.
Cool. And then for the rest of you guys, I'll have the link in with the replay. Travis, if people have questions they want to ask you directly, is there a way we can get a hold of you?
Yeah, I have a free Facebook group. It's called Amazon PPC Pros. That's where I'm most active, but you can find my personal profile in there, and Amazon PPC Pros on Facebook. Personal profiles in there. Just shoot me a message.
Cool. And I think you're tagged. You can get tagged in our group too because you're.
Yeah, I'm in your group, so yeah.
That's right.
Find me there.
That's what I thought you were gonna say, but hey, I'll throw it out there. And there was one thing I was gonna ask you was, oh yeah, can you actually provide the copy or the PDF of your presentation? I'll include that with the replay as well.
Heck yeah.
All right, cool. All right. So Norman, you want to close us out and tell everyone about our last call of the month next week?
And what date is that?
That would be the 18th. Yeah.
Okay, everybody. Well, thanks again, Travis, for coming on. And yeah, I guess I'm going to see you shortly. But anyways, let's see you next week, November the 18th, next Wednesday. Mike, get back on. Well, you're going to be racing. But anyway, try to just stop in the 500, maybe at around the 250 range. And then, just come on.
Oh, it's great to have Mike on. It's been a while since he's been on here live.
I haven't seen him in a long time. All right, guys.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll see you later.
Catch you guys all next week. Thanks again, Travis. Appreciate it, man. Take care.
Bye.
Bye for now.